Welcome to this Timely Topics for School Leader video on developing a vision, timelines, and stakeholder inclusion. This video was produced by the statewide team for school improvement at Lancaster Lebanon IU13, a leading education service agency which works in concert with the Pennsylvania Department of Education. Reproduction of this video is not permitted without written consent by IU13. This video is an introduction to a few aspects of the cycle of continuous improvement: creating a timeline, organizing your work, developing a vision, and determining stakeholders to include in your continuous improvement work. Before we get started, let's consider a through line that highlights the importance that the vision holds in your continuous improvement work. Developing your vision for the work and your vision for learning guides your team as they consider what evidence to collect in order to assess the needs and understand the root cause of your challenges in reaching your vision. Understanding the root cause allows you to articulate a clear priority statement, which in turn guides your selection of an evidence-based strategy to address that priority. Before we focus on the vision for continuous improvement, let's talk about how visions guide decisions in our personal lives. We'll use a dream vacation example. As you plan a dream vacation, you consider what you want. Do you want to stay close to home or go far away? Do you prefer an active vacation or something that allows you to relax? Do you picture yourself in the countryside or in a city? Land-bound or waterside? Before you plan, you need a vision. And as you begin to plan, even if you're going alone, there are people that you need to include and even depend upon to get there. You may be someone who relies on the advice or reviews of others, or maybe you use a travel agent, or you book through an organization to guide your vacation. Some people need to find others to keep an eye on things at home while they're gone. This is no different than what you need to do for school continuous improvement. Just as in planning a dream vacation, you have a desired state, your vision, and then you review data, maybe your bank account or the number of vacation days or work schedule and your calendars, etc., to determine your current state. And then you create a plan to implement and to monitor so you reach your vision. A key aspect of ESSA is its commitment to the use of evidence-based approaches and continuous improvement to drive better outcomes for students. If implemented well, a cycle of improvement grounded in evidence-based approaches can improve student outcomes and increase the return on education investments. Today we'll focus on the first phase of this cycle, set the direction. This is where you determine your vision for learning and you reach out to stakeholders and you determine the vision for the work ahead. This timeline, you'll notice, is from 2023. I'm sharing it just to show an example of the timelines. The exact dates obviously will change year to year, but this gives you a general idea of how to map out the work. This is a general timeline to strive for. Again, these dates are from 2023, but this timeline is shared to give you the gist of about how long it may take for each section of creating your school improvement plan. Let's move on now to some organizational tips. As you prepare to do this work, consider how you'll organize the people and the materials. Some tips that we've learned along the way include creating a shared folder with a rolling agenda and working documents. This helps people to know where to go for anything they need. Speaking of rolling agendas, they're preferable to separate documents for each meeting. A rolling agenda with the most recent meeting at the top helps people to go to one location to find notes, decisions, and assigned next steps. Next, understanding who is doing what and when is really key to sticking to your timeline. There are many project management tools available. Last, the tip is to keep your calendars up to date. Shared calendars are helpful in simplifying scheduling, but if you're not able to share calendars with everyone, be sure to send out calendar invites so you know that the meeting is on everyone's calendar. In the work of school improvement, we're going to differentiate between the vision for learning and the vision for planning. First, establish a vision for planning. In order to create and implement a plan, you'll need to consider the teams to do the work, and the clear structures and systems in place in order to be able to focus on the work at hand rather than the logistics. The teams you will be relying on is a steering committee, a self-assessment team, and eventually your implementation teams. Some structures and systems to consider establishing include determining your timelines, your schedules, your spaces for meetings, and agendas ahead of time. That leaves room for the conversations about the needs and the plans to address the needs. The vision for learning is another part of setting the direction. Effective schools have a clear direction that informs the work of all staff. Establishing an agreed-upon vision for the school is the first step in plan development. The vision should embody the school community's best thinking about teaching and learning. A school needs to know where it wants to be in order to improve. The vision provides all stakeholders with a common direction for growth, something that inspires them to continuously strive to better meet students' needs. The School Improvement Planning Guidelines articulate clear indicators of exemplary planning for a vision statement. A vision statement should be long-term, it should address the compelling need, and it should be easily understood by internal and external groups, including students. As you review your vision, here's some guiding questions for your team to consider. As you get underway with your school improvement planning, consider this activity. Together, review your vision statement. Then consider each of these guiding questions. Does your vision statement provide what you need to answer these? Last, using chart paper, unpack your vision statement. What are the components of your vision statement? What sources of evidence might you gather to better understand your progress toward achieving that vision? Let's move on to stakeholder engagement. Engagement is the process of communicating to, learning from, and partnering with stakeholders that acknowledge the unique needs and strengths of stakeholders involved. Stakeholder engagement should be meaningful. It should be inclusive, clear, effective, and ongoing in order to best support educational equity and excellence. For schools with a CSI designation, the Every Student Succeeds Act requires the inclusion of a chief school administrator, the principal, other school leaders, staff members, parents, community partners, and students if it's at the secondary level. In addition, the statewide Team for School Improvement suggests that an LEA or district administrator is included in addition to the chief school administrator, and that parents and community partners are not also employees of the school or district. As you consider exactly who to invite from each stakeholder group, think about these types of participants. This is taken from the Connect Equitable Engagement Guide from Education Elements at edelements.com. Who do you need to include that represents a group that will be highly impacted by this work and is typically represented? Who might be highly impacted and is typically not represented in a group? How can you include them? Also, who may not be impacted highly, but who's typically represented? And last, who's typically not represented and also may not be highly impacted by the work? Consider how many people from each one of these categories you include or refrain from including. You can learn more and explore more resources at our website, www.iu13.org/school-improvement. Thank you for watching this video. For additional information or questions about this content, please email us, the statewide Team for School Improvement, at pdecsi@iu13.org.